Hey y'all, it's Miss A. Today we are starting Unit 4, which is all about integer operations, which are positive and negative numbers. We're going to begin by multiplying and dividing this week, and today we're focusing on multiplying by using a number line. Okay, while we're doing these notes, if you're at home, I do expect I don't expect you to write down the number lines and draw them out, but I do expect you to write down the multiplication problems and pay close attention to how we're coming up with each number. This is a really easy concept, guys, but it's very easy to mess up if you don't pay attention. So let's get started. What we're going to need to do in order to create a multiplication problem that looks like this, we need to think of three things. Look at three things first. So the first thing we need to look at is how many hops were made. How many hops? And once we figure out how many hops were made, we're going to put that number right here in the first blank. Now, technically we can switch these. I'm going to show you later how when we get our numbers, we can switch them. Because if you think of multiplication, if I take 2 times 3 and equals 6, if I flip those two numbers and do 3 times 2, I'm still going to get 6 in the end. So multiplying doesn't matter which way you multiply the numbers, you'll get the same answer in the end. All right, so we need to look at how many hops were made. And once we have that, we're going to put it right here. So you might be asking, well, what does she mean by hops? Okay, hops are always going to begin at the number 0, so right here. And hops just look like little skips, like this. All right, so you can see here that our hops are moving to the left. Now, one thing we need to know here is that hops are always positive. It doesn't matter if you hop to the left or if you're hopping to the right. Hops are always going to be a positive number. So now all we do is count the hops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we put that number right here. All right, the second thing we're going to look at is how far was each hop, and we're going to put that number right here in the second blank. How far was each hop? And technically, all I have to do to get this answer or this number is to start at 0 and see where I jumped to. So I went from 0 to -3. So my hops were each -3. You can see that I put that here. Each one, -3 to -6, -6 to -9. Each and every one of them is -3. So now that we know that number is -3, we put it here. And then our last thing we need to look at is where did the hops stop? So if the hops, and we're going to put that here. Forgot. We're going to put it right here at the end. That's our answer. So we're going to start at 0, but our hops stopped all the way over here at -15. So that is our answer. 5 times -3 equals -15. So again, we count our hops. How far did we hop each time? And then where did we stop? All right, so here's another one. Again, we want to come up with a multiplication problem, and we're going to look at three things. The first thing is the number of hops. The second thing is how far was each hop. And the last thing to get our answer is where did the hops stop? All right, so again, our hops start at 0. You can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then how far was each hop? All we really have to look at is where it jumped on that very first one. It started at 0 and ended at -4. So each one is -4. So that number goes here. And then our last thing is where do the hops stop, which is right here at -20. So our answer is 5 times -4 equals -20. Now, I did talk about earlier how we could switch these two numbers and still get this answer of -20. So sometimes you will see that. You can get these two switched, and you can write it as -4 times 5 equals -20. Notice that the numbers don't change the sign. 5 is still positive, 4 is still negative. They just switch positions. You will see that sometimes. All right, our next one. Again, we're going to look at three things. The number of hops, how far was each hop, and where did the hops stop? If you feel like you got this, you're pretty good at it, why don't y'all pause it, write down your own multiplication problem, and then see if you got it correct. We're going to do a couple more examples together. All right, so the number of hops, we have 1, 2. How far was each hop? We went from 0 to -9, so each one was going by -9. And then where did the hops stop? Over here at -18, and we have that as our answer. So our multiplication problem is 2 times -9 equals -18, but we can switch these two if we wanted to and make it negative 9 times 2 equals negative 18. All right, here's our next one. Again, we're looking at three things. First thing we're going to look at is our hops. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Our hops. Now you notice here, there's not all these numbers in between. We're not going 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. They're skipping all the way to negative 5. So be careful when you're looking at that. But again, all we have to look at is where that first hop stopped, which is negative 5. So each and every one of them was negative 5. That number goes here. And then, of course, where do the hops stop? Negative 35. So 7 times negative 5 equals a negative 35. And of course, just like before, we can switch those two. The two factors can be switched to be negative 5 times 7 equals negative 35. Again, don't change the sign. Don't make this a negative, make this a positive. They have to stay the same. They just switch the order. All right, and I believe this is our last one. So again, we're looking at three things. Number of hops, how far was each hop, and where did the hops stop? So the number of hops, 1, 2, and 3. How far was each hop? Went all the way over. We skipped negative 5. We went to negative 10. So each one is negative 10. So 3 times negative 10 equals, where did our hop stop? Stopped all the way over here at negative 30. So our answer is negative 30. All right, and just like before, we can switch those two factors if we really wanted to, not changing the sign, just changing the way they're written to be negative 10 times 3 equals a negative 30. All right, guys, and that's it for today. It's pretty easy, just multiplying on a number line. Like I said, if you need to, just go rewatch this video. But it's pretty easy. I hope y'all find it as easy as I think it is. Let me know if y'all have any questions. Feel free to contact me via Zoom or send me an email. Y'all have a great day, and y'all take care. Bye, guys.